Hi, folks. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Daly McGeehan, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this session today. I'm part of our business selling team. I look after our seller advocacy and AI initiatives for UK business sellers. And I'm very happy to set the scene for this important session and to share some learnings on behalf of our UK sellers about how they're using AI. Please direct your attention to the right side of the platform and you can see the chat area. Chat is where you can comment or react to the presentation today. Now, the Q&A will run a little bit differently than if you've been to our events before. We will collect all the questions being asked and each speaker will do a live Q&A for 5 minutes, answering a few of them or as many of them as they can. If you'd like to turn on captions for this event, you can do so by simply clicking that CC button at the bottom right of the video player. Next up, we'll hear a quick update from leadership about eBay Open this year.
Hi, sellers. I am Ron Javen, the GM of eBay North America. Some of us may have met actually at eBay Open last year, which was such a memorable event. And while that was a big success, we are looking to update things this year based on your feedback to make it as valuable as possible. We heard that you value the informational sessions and the practical tools that help you grow your business, and we know that you also value networking with other sellers. But we also heard that it's difficult to step away from your business and fly somewhere for a few days. So this year, we're changing things up with eBay Open on the road. Starting in May, we will hold 4 smaller regional events. These will be shorter one-day events and will give you the opportunity to learn from our eBay experts, connect with other sellers, and meet with one-on-one with our eBay advisors. And we're bringing this all closer to you with your choice of San Diego, Chicago, Dallas, or South Florida as locations. In fact, registration for San Diego is now open, so if you're in the area, please register soon as space is limited. And registration for the other 3 locations will be announced approximately 2 months prior to those events. We look forward to seeing you soon, and as always, thank you for selling on eBay.
Thank you, Ron. Such an exciting announcement. eBay Open is always such an incredible event. The energy in the rooms, the insights shared, the connections, it's all so inspiring. So I'll personally be looking forward to hearing how you all get on this year as well. Now, as I mentioned, I'm part of our business selling team and I lead our seller advocacy initiatives in the UK, which includes identifying ways that sellers are best applying AI to grow their businesses. So today, I'm really excited to share some real examples of what we're hearing from eBay sellers who are learning about and using AI to really support their growth, specifically with ChatGPT as the example. So this session is all about practical takeaways, best practices, those real use cases, and ultimately simple ways to help you get started in the right way. But before we dive in, just a very quick reminder, please do keep using that Q&A function to drop your questions in throughout, and we will be coming back to these shortly, so keep them coming as we go. Now, before I get into it, to bring this to life, I wanted to start by sharing the experiences of 2 of our incredible sellers in the UK, how they got started with AI and what worked for them. So let's hear from Matt Giles from Pre-Love Tech and Lindsay Heyman from O'Jewelry about their experiences.
When I actually started to integrate ChatGPT into the business, I did probably what everybody else did and wanted to ask it how I was going to turn my business into a £1 million company. Because that's the target that we've had. We always said when we set the business up, by year 5, we wanted to be turning over £1 million. We're not quite there yet. We're coming to the end of year 6. We're not far away, but it's in touching distance. But we just keep on feeling there's a glass ceiling, and we didn't know how to break through that. So the first thing that the business that I asked it was how to create a £1 million company. And to be fair to ChatGPT, I didn't really give it an exhaustive prompt. It did say, I need this information first. Give me historic revenue, give me the team size, give me your warehouse size, what type of market you work in, what type of products you sell, how you source your products. And I think I worked on that question for about 3/4 of the day. I can't remember, I think it was a weekend. And actually by the end of it, it gave me this big 12-month plan to get my company from turning over £500,000 to £1 million. And that was kind of like the realization that actually this could be used as a really valuable tool for the business.
I first started by writing very short prompts. I tended to cut and paste blocks of text in and say things like improve this. And I tended to get a lot of American spellings in my improvement. So I learned to say improve this, put in UK English. And then sometimes it was a little bit too familiar in tone. It didn't feel like me. So it was improve this, UK English, use a professional tone. And so I learned to build instructions based around that. I can be a little bit too verbose. So I'd say keep it to 2 paragraphs or 50 words to sort of tone it down and keep the key points in.
So hopefully that's given you a little bit of inspiration. And now you're thinking, okay, where do I actually begin? So let's start by walking through the top tips and best practices for when you're taking those first steps with tools like ChatGPT. There are 5 main principles which we consistently see making the biggest difference. Number 1, tell ChatGPT who you are. Give clarity on the role, the skill set, and therefore the mindset you want it to adopt. Add real context. This helps it understand any key information required to inform decisions. 3, iterate. Keep discussing and engaging with it until you are comfortable and clear on the result. Use structure, so you can set the way it responds to you to give you the information that you're looking for faster. And finally, if you get stuck, ask AI to help you improve. Let's dive into each of these in a bit more detail. So first, let ChatGPT know who you are. This sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Make sure you share your role, your business type, your level of experience, any specific goals or challenges. The more context that you give up front, the more tailored and relevant the responses will be based on that particular goal that you have. Always think of it like onboarding a new team member. The more they understand, or the colleague or ChatGPT understands about your business, the more helpful they can be. Providing context, as we've mentioned, is super important. The quality of the output is directly linked to the quality of the input. So instead of asking, just improve this listing, give it more information about why it's important to you based on those goals and those targets you're setting. So the pricing is higher because of durability. That means I'm asking for copy that will speak to a customer that's looking for that kind of real quality element. What would be even better in this example here is if you inserted an image or a link to the product that you're talking about if you have it. You can also be more strategic and even more open. So instead of how do I improve my sales, you can try something like, I run a refurbished electronics store on eBay, my average selling price is $80, and I'm looking to increase conversion during Q4. What strategies would you recommend? There are lots of different ways to come at this, but providing that level of detail helps ChatGPT give you something far more actionable. And again, a useful way to think about this is to speak to it like a colleague. But remember, it's an enthusiastic graduate. It's capable, fast, full of ideas, but it needs guidance and direction to really shine. Number 3, iterate. Don't stop at that first answer. This tip is actually one of the most important. If you accept the first response as the final answer, you don't have the opportunity to get that real value that comes from iteration. Make sure you ask follow-up questions, challenge the responses you get, check the sources of the responses that you're getting as well. You can ask it to go deeper. You can refine the output. The examples here are some, but you could also ask, how can you simplify that? What would this look like in a weekly plan? The more you interact based on your needs, the better your results become. Next, use structure in your prompts. If you want something clear and usable, tell ChatGPT exactly how to format it. For example, put this into a table. Give me bullet points. This makes the output, again, far more practical and ready to use straight away, especially when you're working across multiple parts of your business at pace. And finally, let AI improve your prompt. If you ever feel stuck or don't feel like you have the skills to get really stuck in, just ask ChatGPT to help you write a better prompt. You can literally say, can you improve this prompt for me? Or I have a particular business problem. I need your help in starting to solve it. It will then refine structure and often make an initial starting prompt even more effective. This is a great shortcut when you're just beginning this journey. So how exactly can ChatGPT help you in your eBay businesses? Now that we've covered how to use it, let's talk about what you can actually use it for. And honestly, this is where it gets exciting. The possibilities here are huge. Often the hardest part isn't using the tool, it's knowing where to start. So we'll dive into each of these areas to really kind of bring to life some areas that we're seeing sellers get the best value. You can use it to explore strategic opportunities using your own ideas or all past sales data. One of the most powerful ways to use ChatGPT is as a thinking partner for strategy. You can paste in previous sales data, you could describe your product categories, or even share trends that you've noticed, and ask ChatGPT to help identify patterns or gaps. For example, it can highlight underperforming categories, suggest complementary products, or spot seasonal opportunities that you may have missed. You can also use it to pressure test your own ideas. Ask, what am I overlooking? What are the alternative growth angles? It's like having an always available analyst who can quickly synthesize information and generate new angles, helping you move from gut feeling to more data-informed decisions. One seller I've spoken with recently initially went into his chat to explore how he could increase volumes to drive up GMV. However, after consulting with his new digital analyst, he was able to build a plan for also focusing on increasing his ASP and is now rolling out a new sourcing strategy to support this. And sometimes it's even the simplest stuff. One seller was looking for a big strategic solve on why her items weren't selling in the US, but they were doing fine in the UK. With ChatGPT, they concluded that due to the keyword search results, she needed to update the spelling on a selection of her listings from the UK to the US version of a word, and that's helped to transform and accelerate her sales. Planning inventory buys based on projected demand or market research. So ChatGPT can help you make smarter inventory decisions by combining historical data, like we've spoken about, with external signals. You can input past sales trends, you can note upcoming seasons, events, things that matter to you and your market, and ask it to estimate different demand scenarios. It can help you think through questions like, what should I stock more of next quarter? Or where am I at risk of overbuying? It won't replace your systems, it shouldn't replace your thinking, but it is incredibly useful for sense-checking assumptions, generating those demand projections, and helping to identify risks. This is also especially helpful for small teams who don't necessarily have dedicated forecasting tools, but who still want to make more confident buying decisions. Draft a promotional calendar and identify best campaigns aligned to peak moments. So instead of starting your marketing plan from scratch, you could use ChatGPT to quickly build a promotional calendar tailored to your business. Share your product categories, target audience, key selling periods, and it can help to map out campaigns across the year or quarter, highlighting peak key retail moments like holidays, seasonal shifts, or even niche events that are relevant to your audience. It can suggest campaign ideas, messaging angles, timing strategies, and from there you can refine and customize. This turns what could be hours of planning into a strong first draft in minutes and helps you stay consistent and proactive rather than reactive with the promotions you choose. One seller I've recently worked with has also been managing their marketing plan to create this single view of promotional material. They're combining information around their newsletter, when the assets and imagery need to be updated. They're preparing blog outputs. They're identifying when the discounts or the coupons they're running are in the year, and then using all of that information to support what else could be happening. And she's saving days a month, which is amazing to see. ChatGPT is also great for scenario planning. So you can describe your current revenue, growth rates, pricing, traffic assumptions. You can ask it to then model different outcomes, like what happens if I increase conversion by 10%? Or how would revenue change if I expand into a new category? It can, again, walk through the logic step by step and help to give you simplified projections. This is incredibly useful for decision making. You can quickly compare best case, worst case, expected scenarios without building complex spreadsheets. It also helps you understand the impact of your choices and prioritize the strategies that could move the needle the most. And finally, as you heard from Matt earlier, ChatGPT can help you turn all of these insights into a clear, actionable roadmap. You can ask it to take your goals like increasing revenue, growing ASP, expanding categories, improving margins, and break them down into priorities. What you need to do, when, what are the timelines, what are the key initiatives? It can structure your plan by quarter, suggest milestones, and even identify dependencies or risks. Think of it as a way to help you organize your thinking and create clarity. Instead of a long list of ideas, you end up with a focused plan that you can actually execute against, making it easier to align your team, your partners, your suppliers, and track progress over time. Now, let's look at how this works in practice. We're going to deep dive into a couple of practical examples that firstly help to build the foundations for success, and then build some new skills that could support you in getting to the next level. One really cool feature in ChatGPT is the ability to use voice mode. So you can switch on the 3 dashes next to the microphone or use the microphone itself to move either to voice mode or dictation, which allows you to speak with ChatGPT, and it can either translate your voice to text or it can speak back to you. So you're having a kind of real conversation. And this gives you massive time savings as well in actually not having to give it or type out all of the context up front about your business. It essentially turns ChatGPT into your kind of cell phone personal assistant. Now, in this example, based on the information that this seller has given ChatGPT about his business, it's directing back more specific questions that will help it to inform what it's going to do going forward, and it will help it become more useful and productive. You can then choose to save that content once it's generated into a PDF, and you keep that in your chat. Or you can set up a project, which is basically a repository for chats on the same topic. And then you essentially assign a key source of information about that project. And that means that ChatGPT can always refer back to those sources whenever you have questions to ask or whenever you start a new chat within that project. So this really just reduces the need for repeating context and background about your business and allows you to get straight into the key things that you're interested in. Moving to the next level, you can then create additional automation through new project requests. So this next seller, on the next slide, thank you, has specifically set up a project that's designed to manage regular performance reviews based on the different data sources that he's got access to. So he's set up a prompt supporting his e-commerce sales dashboard project, being very specific about the output that he's looking for. So in this case, Google Sheets. He wants to create a table that has specific column headers and the key insights he wants to understand. So SKU, category, the sale price, the fees, the shipping cost, the net profit calculations, the month-on-month growth. It can give you information and also create the calculations that you're looking for. But ultimately, you can set what works here for your business. And as we spoke about earlier, you can also give it instructions to help you through things that you want it to do. In this case, ChatGPT is suggesting an advanced integration. However, the seller is rightfully choosing to keep it all in his Google Sheets for the purposes that he has. And here are the results. So they're able to now monitor all of this information and review month-on-month data that they're getting whenever they put the information in, so they can see where they're at in real time. A great next step from this would then be able to take the insights to understand, test, and develop different business ideas that help to address anything that data is showing up. So to bring this all together, I'll just leave you with a few thoughts and kind of comments. Start simple. Make sure you continue to give context. Keep iterating. Use that structure, the frameworks that really help you the most, and then build from there. You don't have to do everything at once. Even small steps can unlock real value real quick. That's it from me. I hope you found this really insightful, and I hope you've taken away at least a couple of ideas and things to implement as a result. And I'm looking forward to answering all and any questions that you have in a few minutes. And I'll pass over to Lisa.
Welcome everyone. I'm Lisa, product manager for eBay stores, and here today to talk to you about stores. I hope a lot of you already have an eBay store subscription already, but in case you don't yet, I'm going to talk about a few good reasons to open that eBay store. First off, there are the fee discounts depending on your volume. There are different tiers that fit your needs. Secondly, it opens the opportunity to create promoted store campaigns to drive traffic to your store. Opens up the ability to set up promos and send newsletters to your store followers. And then there's the storefront. The storefront is one of the best ways for seller to build a recognizable brand and showcase your story. Instead of just listing individual items, the store gives you a dedicated destination where buyers can explore your products. You can organize and highlight your inventory, set up sales and promotions, make it easier for buyers to browse everything you offer in one place. Another key benefit is building that relationship with buyers. Buyers can follow your store to stay updated on new inventory, promotions, and sales. This creates an ongoing connection rather than a one-time purchase. And over time, your store becomes a hub where loyal buyers know they can come back for quality products and a reliable experience. In short, an eBay store isn't just about selling more items, even though that's what we all want. It's about building a brand, creating a memorable shopping experience, and developing that lasting relationship with buyers. You can customize your storefront with a banner, a logo, and an about section that tells buyers who you are and what your store specializes in. These are what we call the basic assets. Adding in a video is even better. This helps turn a simple transaction into a brand experience. When buyers recognize your store and trust it, they're more likely to return and become that repeat customer. So some of you may have already set up your storefront, some with more branding assets than others. Here's a comparison of two storefronts with these basic branding assets. The store on the left here have everything, telling their brand stories well, while eBay's own merchandise shop have the bare minimum. No imaging, all text. So according to our own most recent data that was pulled in January, 43% of all stores have basic branding assets. That leaves 57% of stores that still don't. And our data has also shown that stores with a complete set of assets generally tend to have higher conversion rate than those that don't. So I'm here to talk to you about a few new features that will help make the customizable experience a little bit easier and tell your brand story a little bit better. So we leverage eBay AI to give you, the sellers, the opportunity to create that store billboard more easily. That is the image that will be shown up on top of your storefront. What we do is we take the main category that your listings are in and try to create images that are generic enough without displaying specific products to represent the vibe of your store. Now, we may not get it right all the time, so you can create new images easily over and over. The idea is that this will help get you started. Also, we are making writing the About Me section easier with AI. This again aims to get your creative juices flowing by generating a small paragraph based on your main listing category, your location, and your store name. It may sound a little bit generic to start with, but you do have the option to undo it and write your own or edit what AI has started for you. The goal here for these two AI features is really to help you with these basic assets as first steps to building your brand on the eBay storefront. The last feature I'm going to talk about today is not powered by eBay, not powered by AI. It is only available to Anchor and Enterprise tier store subscribers. It is what we call the banner collection. If you are an Anchor or Enterprise tier subscriber, on your storefront, you will be able to create up to 4 of these banner collections. It consists of a banner for you to customize the copy with an image or video. You can link it to the category of your choice, eBay category or your own custom store category, and a product carousel of listings from that category will be displayed right below. The idea here is that we want to give you more opportunities to showcase your collections with image or video, whichever one tells your story better. Setup is really simple. Let's play the video, please. So here's a quick video of how to set up the banner collections on your edit store page, if you're eligible. If you have the assets ready on your desktop, it's really quick. So first you go down to the banner collection with video section, select the categories you want to highlight, your choice of either eBay or custom categories, and then click on the Add Banner image, or video. Then select the file you want to display. Then type in your heading and subheading. And that is pretty much it. The category inventory strip will automatically show up. You save it, then you're done with setting up one. Again, you can set up to 4 of these collections. To preview, you just click on the preview draft, check to see if everything looks good. You have your banner there, and then the last thing to do is to make sure you publish, and that's it. Your storefront looks more customized and professional. We believe these banner collections will drive more buyer trust and buyer engagement with your store and your listings, building on that buyer brand recognition. This feature just launched to worldwide sellers in January, and currently we have about 2% organic seller adoption because we have not yet started marketing it. But we would love for more sellers to adopt this feature in the continual effort to build their brand story on Storefront. And these are the new store features that we created for you to better build your brands. Please leave questions and comments in the Q&A section. And with that, I will pass it back to Lily.
Thank you so much. Brill. So there are loads of questions, which is fabulous. So I will take us through a few of them in the time that we have. The first question is from Kathy. This is a great one. Do you have to use the paid version of ChatGPT to get good results? And the answer to that is absolutely not. We're talking about ChatGPT today. Just as an example, there's obviously lots of different tools out there. I think the great thing about starting with the free version of various different tools is that it helps you build that skill set, that confidence, and that kind of understanding of what it can do for you. Absolutely, the paid versions unlock more and more features, speed, capacity, but you still can get very, very good results from using these tools across the board as well. So no to having to pay, but certainly more advanced subscriptions allow you to access more capacity and realistically kind of ask more questions. There's a few questions which are awesome around how to kind of bring some of this into your business and how to apply the listings and actually give the information to ChatGPT. So we'll start with the next question from RD, which is, how do I upload my listing to ChatGPT to give it context with the prompt to improve my listing? So you can do this in a number of ways. You can share the link, so your URL to that listing, and you can, again, share that prompt, share those examples, and then it can suggest various different things. You can also ask it to potentially compare to similar items, and you kind of just have to remember here that in ChatGPT or in any other kind of external AI tools that you might be using, it has access to the internet. So it will be comparing to whatever it can see and whatever it can access. Likewise, the information that it gives you is based on the internet information that it can access. And so it's always just really, really important to remember that this is not necessarily like the final answer, and it's not necessarily the eBay specific answer either. So use it again as a starting point to make sure that you're sharing that information. From imagery, it can give you really good sort of guidance on what is this product. It could help you with things like keywords. It can sort of find details for you. So a lot of the sellers I speak with are actually sharing these images up front to be able to help create the listing in terms of just understanding exactly what it is, especially if they're starting out in a new category and they don't necessarily know that much about it. This is a really helpful way to just help find some of the information that might take a bit longer if you're having to start from scratch. So use imagery, use links, find what works for you as well, and you'll get the answers that way. There's a really great question here from Cynthia, so I'm just going to focus on that, which is, I'm not happy with what AI generates in response to a customer. can it be trained to respond in our individual style or voice? That is a fantastic question. It's great that you are challenging those responses. And yes, it absolutely can be trained to respond in your individual style. So what you can do is actually create a project, and you can set that as your customer communication project. And within that project, you can set, like we spoke about earlier, those sources that are basically you saying, this is the way that I want you to be speaking. This is my tone. This is my voice. You can actually also do that when you have your account. You can actually set up kind of your personalization on your workspace. So you can tell it the tone that you want to set from the beginning. But also creating those projects allows you to really kind of make sure that you're sharing that information with ChatGPT or the relevant tool in all the different areas that you can. So yeah, use those kind of formats to make sure that you're setting the tone, setting the context, setting that expectation of ChatGPT, and then you can start to iterate with the kinds of responses. And also there's always things to look out for as well. So when ChatGPT gives you an answer, there are sometimes quite easy ways to identify that it's been written by ChatGPT. So it might be that you actually include within your kind of rules, don't use this type of distinction that allows it to seem like it's been generated by AI. Hopefully that answers your question. I think we've probably got time for one more, which is, can you upload, from Maggie, can you upload an Excel spreadsheet of your inventory so that ChatGPT can evaluate it? And this will largely depend on what kind of subscription you have. That it is possible to upload files. So you can, as part of the chat search bar, there's a little plus button, and you can click that to see all the different things that you can do, whether it's upload a file or various different other things. So there you can have a play around with uploading different files that you have access to. Obviously, we would suggest exercising caution when you're uploading sensitive information. So please don't put anything sensitive or confidential into ChatGPT, especially the free version. But yeah, it's a great place to get started, and the file upload functionality is really, really exciting. So definitely have a play there. Thank you so much. I think that's probably it for questions in terms of timing. So I will pass back now to Sumya.
Thank you, Lily. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Soumya Chanduri, and I'm the product manager for seller finances at eBay. So today I'm super excited to introduce a new AI-driven product we have been developing called the Seller Finances Copilot. So in this session, I'll walk you all through what the product is, the key seller pain points it's designed to address, and how it helps simplify financial decision-making. I'll also share a few practical examples to highlight its strengths and the value it's going to bring to your day-to-day operations. So let's get started. Next slide, please. So Finances Copilot is an AI-powered assistant that provides instant answers to a seller's financial questions, whether related to holds, payouts, earnings, and many more, through a simple conversational interface. So today, sellers often need to navigate through multiple dashboards or click through several pages to understand their financials, but Copilot changes that experience entirely by enabling sellers to ask questions in natural language and also get clear and immediate insights. So these queries can further be tailored based on a seller's specific needs, such as time period, order type, buyer region, or transaction type, giving sellers a much more flexible and intuitive way to explore their financial data. In short, all you need to do is ask, and the Copilot delivers precise, easy to understand, timely responses right at your computer. So it's like your best financial buddy. So there are different ways to access the Finances Copilot. Within My eBay, you can simply click on Ask eBay.ai to launch the chatbot and get instant assistance with your financial questions. And the experience on native would look something like this. So you can chat with eBay.ai and get help with any of your questions that you may have related to your finances. So now I would like to deep dive into some of the examples emphasizing the strengths of this product. One of the most common questions eBay sellers have is about their funds in held balance. So with Copilot, sellers can simply ask this question and receive a clear breakdown of the amount that's currently on hold. As you can see on my screen, it is explaining that you have $55 on hold for so-and-so reason. Now, if the seller is more curious to learn about further details about this hold, it can also provide much more richer information. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, so as you can see here, it provides the detailed information of what is the order that is actually on hold, what is the amount, what is the reason or the issue for eBay to put those funds on hold, and most importantly, what are the resolution steps and by what date, and those have to be taken in order to release those funds. So all of that guidance is provided immediately so that sellers can take actionable steps based on the information. Next slide, please. There could be much more curiosity around whether the seller got paid for this order. So if if the seller tries to ask if did I get paid for this order, and if indeed they got paid, then it confirms the paid out amount. It provides full information around what the amount that got paid out, the date, the time, and the bank account where the funds were sent. So in this example that you're seeing on my screen, the payout includes a single transaction, and Copilot clearly communicates that as well. So this level of transparency helps sellers quickly understand their finances without needing to dig through multiple pages, right? Yeah. In addition to the specific examples that we saw until now, there could be some payout transactions which involve multiple transactions, right? Like the previous example had one single transaction. But for more complex payouts involving multiple transactions, Finances Copilot breaks everything down in a clear, concise way. It provides complete visibility into all components like orders, fees, expenses, and any refunds that are part of your payout. So sellers can easily understand how the payout is calculated. So this streamlined explanation makes reconciliation faster, simpler, and far less time consuming. Beyond answering questions about specific transactions, Finances Copilot also helps sellers analyze their overall financial performance. For example, if you want to understand your expenses or earning trends over past months, quarters, or even years, Copilot provides a clear and detailed breakdown of the most relevant insights. So this makes it easier for sellers to track performance, identify patterns, and make more informed business decisions. So in this particular slide, in this example, we are trying to identify how the expenses have changed from Q4 to Q1, and it provides a comparison of those two numbers. Now, the next immediate question a seller could have is, how did my earnings change from Q4 to Q1, which we will see in the next slide. And the Copilot is guiding the seller that your earnings have decreased by so-and-so amount from Q4 to Q1, and so did, whereas your expenses have increased. So this is a useful insight for the seller to act upon and see where they need to make necessary changes to ensure that their earnings are increasing. Next slide, please. Sellers can also use Finances Copilot to quickly understand some of our other key metrics like total sales and refunds over the past year. As you can see in this example, it delivers instant, accurate responses to these type of questions without the need to manually pull several reports or navigate through multiple pages. This not only saves time, but also gives sellers quick, reliable insights, helping them stay on top of their business and make smart, data-driven decisions. Next slide, please. Another powerful use case is comparing fees across different time periods. So Finances Copilot makes it easier for sellers to see how their fees have changed, and they can identify which categories are driving highest costs. So by clearly breaking this down, it helps sellers better understand where their money is moving or going and make more informed decisions about managing and optimizing their expenses. And these are not the definite or amount of questions that can be asked to Copilot. Any variety of questions can be asked related to payouts, fees, expenses, holds, earnings, shipping labels, and the pilot will be your financial assistant answering those questions. Next slide, please. In addition to all the examples that we have covered so far, one of the biggest strengths of this product is its ability to provide reliable answers to policy-related questions. So instead of spending time navigating multiple help pages, sellers can simply ask the Copilot and get clear contextual explanations right away. So overall, I would say Finance's Copilot acts like a trusted financial assistant, helping sellers with transaction-specific questions, policy clarifications, and also deeper insights into their financial performance on eBay. So we firmly believe that this empowers sellers to save their time, reduce friction, and also manage their business with great confidence and clarity. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation so far, and we would love to hear your feedback on Finance's Copilot. So please take a moment to sign up by scanning the QR code or click the link on the chat on your screen. Your input is super valuable, and we are committed to continuously improve the product based on your feedback to better support your needs. And now I'll hand over to Lisa.
Thank you, Soumya. So I'm here to answer some questions about Storefront. So I've been getting some questions about how the AI billboard doesn't create accurate images. Like I mentioned before, it's meant to be generic enough that it doesn't show specific products within a category. For example, if you are selling jewelry and we happen to generate an image of a specific ring and the buyers don't see it in your listing, then that will not be the ideal case. So we do try to take keywords and create images that are fitting the vibe and generic enough. Again, it's meant to start your creative juices flowing and maybe play around with it instead of one and done. Also, similar with the AI description, the descriptions right now, again, it's just because we are not expecting sellers to enter the prompt. We are taking your location, your store location, your category, and your store name, and try to come up with something that is usable, but definitely would benefit from your editing to sound more personalized. So both of these AI features, they are powered by eBay's own AI platform. We're not partnering with ChatGPT nor Gemini yet on those. So please bear with us as we continue to enhance. And then there was a question about when AI video will be available. That is what we're looking to do in the next step. So it's on the roadmap, but no definite dates yet. And then I got some questions about the banner collection. So banner collection is only available for Anchor and Enterprise tiers of subscriptions right now. It may have the tier name may have different names in different regions. I think it's also called Premium Plus in certain markets. But basically, it just depends on your subscription. If you go to ebay.com and in search, if you enter store subscriptions or how to open a store, there will be helpful links into what different subscriptions benefits are. And then you can subscribe the ones that's most benefiting for your storefront and your selling style. And then with that, I did get one more question about metrics for store newsletters. When will that be available? We are working on that. We understand, we've heard from a lot of sellers that you want to know the stats and metrics for how your new store newsletters are doing. We are fully aware, so we are working on building those data pipelines, and we're working with the different teams on trying to figure out what is the best way to display that to sellers. So with that, I will pass it back to Samya for some question and answering. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, a lot of great questions, and I can see the excitement about the product. So thank you everyone for asking those wonderful questions. The first one that I would like to answer is from Lynn. How much does Copilot cost? It does not cost any, there is no additional cost. It would be a feature that we would like to enable eventually for all sellers. But for the time moment, I'll request to scan the QR code that was shared earlier so that we can add you into the system as one of the initial users and receive your feedback. So it does not cost anything. Yeah. The next question is from Steve. Can I export data to Excel from Copilot? So that's something that we are currently working on as a part of our roadmap, but we don't have it at this moment, but we'll definitely be having it sooner in one of our future releases. The next one is from My Cottage Books and Antics. Is Finances Copilot available now for everyone? How do I access it? So right now it's not, but we would recommend you to scan the QR code and sign up for it. Within a couple of days, you should receive an access and you can start using it, provide feedback through the tool directly, and we'll accordingly improve it. But within a few months, we want to expand it to all sellers, but at this moment, it's not like openly available. The next question is a fantastic question from Joshua. Will Copilot assist in setting prices for new listings based on sales history against market valuation in context, selling items above market value as source data? So right now, the focus is more around eBay financials, like it provides insights around eBay specific financials, but our goal is also to expand it to provide any recommendations tailored based on how the markets are trending, different product categories, and competitor pricing and all of those areas, which we do not have at this point. But we'll certainly keep you all posted when those are in place. One more question. Do I need a store for Copilot? There is no such limitation. We would encourage any seller to sign up for it, use it, and provide your valuable feedback. So that's about it for the Q&A related to Finances Copilot. So we look forward for the signups, and we'll be looking forward for the feedback. Thank you all. So to wrap up, I just want to mention that there will be a webinar next month, and the next month's webinar will feature two of our favorite small businesses, sellers, talking about their listing processes. They'll also be reviewing your submitted listings for review. So join us for the listing celebration and plan on learning and listing together. Over to you, Lisa.
So we'd love to know what you thought of today's session. In about 10 minutes, you'll receive an email with a link to our post-event survey. From our survey respondents, we'll be randomly selecting 50 sellers to receive a $25 eBay gift card as a thank you for your feedback. So thank you again for joining, and we'll see you next month.